All right, here we go. So today's crazy substitution. So in order to use substitution, remember, which means you replace something, you find which equation has a variable by itself on one side and circle the stuff it equals. Substitute the circled stuff into the other equation correctly, which we talked about yesterday, and then you're going to solve for the letter you got. Pick one of the original equations and replace the letter's number from section 3 to find your other letter's number. Okay, so let's do it. So first things first, when you write a solution, it's going to be an x comma y. And I like to label my equations, so this is my first, this is my second. My first equation has y equals stuff, so I'm going to take that stuff and plug it into my other equation. So we have negative 4x minus 2 times the stuff, which was x minus 10. You take all of the stuff, not some of it, not part of it, all of it. Okay? All right, now we're going to use our solving skills. So this means we are going to distribute. This leaves us with negative 4x minus 2x plus 20 equals negative 10. Combine like terms. That negative 4x plus a negative 2x makes a negative 6x. Nothing else changed. And then I subtract away my constant, so I subtract 20 on both sides. This leaves us with negative 6x equals negative 30. Divide away that coefficient of negative 6 on both sides. This leaves us with x equals a 5. So far, we know x's number is 5, so I'm going to write that. Now we need to figure out y's number, and I'm going to show you that you can use either the first equation or the second equation, okay? Because that's what the fourth one is. Pick one of the original equation, replace the letter's number from number 3 into the other letter's number. That sounds crazy. So first we're going to use number 1, so y equals x minus 10, the first equation. Well, we know x's number now is 5, so I'm going to replace that. So we got y equals 5 minus 10. This gives us y equals, I'm going to check in my calculator. This is the best calculator. All right, so I'm going to type that in. So we got 5 minus 10, negative 5. All right, so y's number is negative 5. So I'm going to write that. We know that y's number is negative 5. But I'm going to use the second equation, so to prove to you that it doesn't matter which one you use, whether you use the first one or the second one to figure out your second letter's number. So once again, our x's number was 5, so I'm going to replace this x with a 5. Okay, this gives us negative 4 times 5 minus 2y equals negative 10. Math. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. So we have negative 20 minus 2y equals negative 10. Add that 20 on both sides. This leaves us with negative 2y equals 10. Miss Rolf, what? Check. Negative 10 plus 20 is 10. Divide away that negative 2. Which leaves me with y equals 10 divided by negative 2. Oh my gosh, look. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. So it doesn't matter which equation you use. I like to choose the easier one. Obviously, this was easier. If you use the harder one by accident, that's okay, because you should get the same answer as long as you don't mess up your math. I'm going to keep my calculator open on the side here. All right, so let's look at the next one. So we got our first and second equation. Our first equation has x equals stuff. So that means we're going to replace x in the other equation with this stuff. So we have negative 2 parentheses the stuff, which was 3 plus y equals, 3y plus 16. Jeez. And then bring everything else. All right, now we do our solve skills. So we have parentheses distribute. This gives us a negative 6y minus 32 minus 6y equals 4. Combine like terms, negative 6y plus a negative 6y. So let's check. Negative 6 plus negative 6. Oh, look at that. That gives me a negative 12y. Nothing else changed, so bring everything else down. Add 32 on both sides. This cancels. We're left with negative 12y equals 36. Divide away that negative 12 on both sides. This leaves you with y equals negative 3. So y's number is negative 3. So let's write that. Ordered pair is always going to be x, y. Negative 3 is our y value. Does it matter which original equation we plug into? No, it doesn't. Am I going to choose the easier of the two? Yes, I am. So I'm going to use 1 to find x's number. Okay? So number 1 was x equals 3y plus 16. Remember, y's number was negative 3. So let's place that. So we have x equals 3 times negative 3 plus 16. Now you can do all the mathy stuff, but I'm going to show you a little trick here using my handy dandy calculator. I plug that into my calculator exactly. Miss Rawolf, what do you mean? Let me show you. So 3 parentheses, Miss Rawolf. So 3 parentheses, negative 3, close the parentheses, and then it says plus 16. All right, this matches up. What I just typed out of my calculator matches this exactly. Nothing's changed. And look at that. My answer is 7. So x's number is 7, and we are done. Let's look at the next one. Be careful. The next problem you might have to fix because it might have a boo-boo, so just be careful. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay, so we have our first equation. We have our second equation. We need to remember that our solution is always written as x comma y. So in this equation, we have x equals stuff in the second equation. So x equals stuff, which means we're going to replace x in our first equation with all of that stuff. So we got negative 3. Now we'll replace x with negative 5y plus 4. And then the rest of the equation was negative 15y equals negative 1. All right, now we do mathy stuff. So we're going to distribute. Negative 3 times negative 5y is a positive 15y. Negative 3 times 4 is a minus 12. And then everything else gets brought down. Nothing else was changed. Combine like terms. So we have 15y and a negative 15y. Well, hold up, wait a minute. 15y minus 15y cancels. So those are gone, which means we're left with a negative 12 equals negative 1. Ruh-roh. Well, from yesterday, negative 12 does not equal negative 1. And, little star, all the letters have canceled. Okay, so if all the letters have canceled and we're left with something that is not true, and we're left with something that is not true, this thing over here that we circled, then that means that our final answer is a no solution. Okay? All the letters have canceled. 1, that's the first thing you need. And 2, you need to be left with something that's not true. Let's look at the next one. So we have our first one, we have our second one. We have to write our answer as x comma y. So which of the first or second one has a letter equaling a bunch of stuff? Well, the first one has a letter that equals a bunch of stuff. Y equals a bunch of stuff. So we're going to replace y in the other equation with all this stuff. And that's the only thing that changes, right? We still have that negative 3x. We still have that minus. But now instead of a y, we have parentheses negative 3x minus 2 equals 2 is still there. But remember, there's technically a negative 1 in front. So we do some mathy stuff. We got to solve, do our parentheses. This leaves us with negative 3x. Negative 1 times a negative 3x is a plus 3x. Negative 1 times a negative 2 is a plus 2. Now we combine like terms, a negative 3x and a 3x. Well, those, these cancel. All right, so we're left with, oh, I forgot the 2. So we're left with 2 equals 2. So first things first, let's write a little note. Again, all letters have canceled, but we're left with 2 equals 2. 2 does equal 2. This is true. And from yesterday, if you're left with something that's true, 2 does equal 2, and all the letters have canceled, that means you're left with infinite solutions. Okay? That's the end of this video. Go ahead and do your homework. This is the world's best calculator. Here's what the app looks like. It's this one in green. Good luck.